to Food for Thought, episode 10. Today we're here to talk about what is embodiment and how can it help you change your life for the better. So the reason I started this show is to inspire, empower and connect people, connect them with themselves, each other and life, to draw awareness to the benefits of transformation and the countless possibilities and opportunities that appear for us when we start our transformational journey. To help people see the signs so they know they're not alone and have the confidence to act from their best self. For all the viewers and listeners to feel inspired to make lasting positive change in their lives and businesses, because we do talk about business sometimes. The show is not about me though. It's about all the people I've met on my journey who are out there guiding and supporting others. And I wouldn't be where I am without people like I talk to on my show and many of the people on my show. They're each an inspiration to me. They all have unique talents and they are very heart-centered and have a great devotion to others. Each one of them inspires me. If you like, you can connect with them and let them inspire you. There'll be a link in the description after the show, or you can pop to the event page or click on Sander's name as he's a co-host here. So I'm your host, Matt Love. I'm a transformational specialist, currently working with aspiring and established conscious and spiritual entrepreneurs to empower them with clarity, confidence, and faith and new abilities. I specialize in internet presence, also known as digital marketing, and overcoming fear, doubt, and other resistances. You can connect with me on my website, @mattlove.business or mattlove.life, which is just going live at the moment, or here on Facebook. So this week, I have the pleasure of talking with Sander. I've known Sander for nearly 2 years. We have been on courses together, meditated together, and socialized together, only online though. We've seen each other grow, I'd say, and I believe inspired and influenced each other greatly. I see Sander as a gentle giant, one full of talent, personality, and heart. I do not know if I've met anyone as true to themselves as Sander, although I'm still meeting many people every day, and I'm sure we can all get to where Sander is after listening to everything he has to share with us today. He is an embodiment coach, not to put any pressure on you there, Sander, body worker and healer who uses several different methods or modalities to help people achieve rapid transformation. He helps people living with disability or chronic pain, suffering with overwhelm and burnout, new parents, and anyone looking for purpose or to embody their life or just themselves. And that's what we're here to talk about today. So Sander, would you like to introduce yourself?
Yeah, hello everybody. I can't see you, but Matt can. My name is Sander Dammingh. Matt pronounced it wrong in the live you did earlier today. Dammingh.
Okay, yeah, that's why I didn't just say it now.
Well, as Matt said, I'm an embodiment coach / body worker. And I specialize for first and foremost from my own experiences. What do things do for me? I do have a bodywork training. I went to school. I'm trained in Osho rebalancing, which was quite helpful for me to give some structure to how to approach bodywork and also embodiment. And yeah, body embodiment is not only just about the body, it's more than the body, because you're not only your body.
So yeah, so you're an embodiment and bodywork specialist. And I think both of those things are things that not many people hear about. I mean, there are a few people talking about embodying, but they don't actually do embodiment as a whole. So what is embodiment?
For me, embodiment is I'm looking for the English word. the will or the openness to start feeling what's happening in your body, and by doing that, not having any judgment on it. And when you start being more in your body, you also start to be more outside of your body. So you start to make more connection to your surroundings as well. It's as if the body is the vehicle or the tool, or vehicle is a good word, to connect with the world around you.
Yeah, I love that. So it's kind of like becoming an observer more than a critic of your feelings and your body, and letting it flow rather than intervening with
and if there is discomfort or there is pain, what is that pain or discomfort trying to tell you? And that might also open new doorways or new ways of seeing things or new ways of being. So
awesome. Yeah, and I mean it's such a crucial thing, I think, is like getting to know yourself better. I think many of us feel like we do, but it's quite on quite a shallow level. So so embodiment is not necessarily working on yourself, or it is working on yourself?
I think it is working on yourself. Yeah. Well, it's working on the relationship with yourself. So it can be that you start doing something physically with your body, but it can also mean that you stop doing something physically and to allow yourself to feel. It depends on the situation and where somebody's at.
Okay, so embodying something, is that what it feels? So is that what it feels like to be fully in your body? I mean, have you ever felt fully in your body?
I have. And it's most of the times the moments where I stop listening to my inner critic that everybody has, or by just being in the moment.
Okay, so
for instance, an example: we have a cat called a bird, and the bird was still alive, so I took the bird from the cat, and the bird was sitting in my hand and was totally panicked. So I just calmed myself down and focused on me being just me without having to do anything with the bird, and that calmed the bird down. And when it was calm enough, it just sat on my hand for a few minutes and then flew off.
Nice. Yeah, so I think that's a really good example. So it's sort of learning to go with the flow of it, not pushing to make things happen. Like you are not expecting anything. You just calmed yourself, which calmed the bird, gave off the right energy, and it's kind of similar thing with yourself. So is it similar to going into a flow state, or?
Yeah, it's similar as going into a flow state.
Okay, so it's very relaxing.
All the listeners know what a flow state is, but it's not, for me, it's not actively seeking control, but by allowing what wants to happen, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that does. Yeah, so allowing everything to happen. Yeah, allowing things to happen. So for those who don't know what a flow state is when you are actually doing something and you lose track of everything else. So your critic's not normally present, you're not judging yourself, you're maybe losing track of time, and you're just effortlessly enjoying whatever you're doing. And it's something that most creative people aim to be able to try and do when they're creating. So, and that's why I was wondering if it was similar to that kind of state where you have no self-critic, or you're at least quietened it enough to just be acting from your highest resonant self and your true self, and just doing what you feel the right thing to do is at the time, rather than constantly questioning and adjusting. So,
and sometimes it's also labeled as the zone, especially with people who do sports on a high level. They tend to call it the zone, where they perform their best. But yeah,
the zone, absolutely. Yeah, flow state, the zone, or fully embodied, where you're just observing but allowing, not judging. And so what is the point of embodiment? It's not really so.
Well, what's the point of what's the point of being here is the question I pose. The point of embodiment, or embodying, it's embracing the fullness of life with all its facets. At least that's what it is to me. So it's there might be different emotions going on, but by allowing those emotions to exist and explore and not running away from them, it's like we've been born here on this planet, and we are born in a body. Yeah, that's the vehicle that we use to navigate this realm. But an embodiment means, for me, that you are allowing yourself to be fully in that vehicle and to fully explore this realm. And what happens on our journey is that we tend to create this thing called the ego, or this voice inside that judges us, or that can be created by trauma, and those mechanisms are perfectly fine when you're a child, because you're protecting yourself, but it will hinder you when you're an adult in exploring what this life is fully about. So can also mean that you how do you call it, pull back from life, or pull back from your body, or pull back from the interaction with the world around you.
Yeah, absolutely. So a couple of people commented attunement and alignment, so I'm guessing that's a flow state, and that's another words that people are using. Euphoria, ecstasy, these are other words that I've been told are the same as a flow state. And so I think, what you mentioned there is really interesting. I think from my perspective, the ego is something that, it's a label for our survival mode. However, what's happened with our consciousness is that that ego starts to think that other things are necessary to survive, like comparison, judgment, how we look, status. And so we end up with this, the words you used earlier, inner critic, which is constantly creating unhealthy comparisons, instead of just saying, am I safe? Have I got everything I need? I'm doing all these things. It doesn't feel the need to do that. And so it limits us from progressing with the things we want, because it's been attuned, like you say, because of traumas, because of childhood experiences, because of these things, into unnecessarily trying to protect us from perceived danger.
Yeah, but when you look at it, there is, for me, when I see such patterns with myself or with a client, they have they had a purpose, and the mechanism that created it is quite intellectual, is quite smart. So I do not judge this the mechanism or the system that somebody had put in place, because it had a purpose, and there's value in that system as well. It had a purpose, and it served you at some point on your journey in this realm. Yeah,
I mean, absolutely. I think for sure, I think we all have to get to a certain stage where things no longer serve us for us to need to look for a new way. Yeah, absolutely. And so generally we talked about embodiment and being fully in your body and experiencing that, and getting into what could be called a tuned, aligned flow state, where you're just able to observe and allow and accept things for what they are. So that generally is what people call working on themselves. So why do you think working on yourself is creating a better world?
I don't want to call it work, because there is this feeling that you have to do something. It's more like an exploration and a discovery of the self, and by doing that, looking at your at what makes you you can also start making division in, oh, this is truly coming from myself or my own divine spark, or this is something that I picked up along the way from my parents, or from the community I grew up in, from the church, from whatever, from school, but it's not really me. So I see it more as not self-work. I see it more of as self-exploration.
Yeah.
And by doing that, you also start expanding yourself by encountering stuff that you might have put away somewhere, because at that time when you were showing it, you had to put it away because society didn't accept it. And you start discovering new things about yourself, and by doing that, you also start expanding your field and your vibration as well, because you are allowing more of yourself to be.
Oh, yeah. So you've given me there's an interesting thing actually, which we weren't scheduled to really talk about today, but you just mentioned it, and I actually asked, what is the importance of raising your vibration? And some people did reply, what does raising your vibration even mean? So what does raising your vibration mean to you?
To me?
Yeah.
Ooh. That's a difficult question. Or not a difficult question, but how to answer that?
So just give you a second. I'm just going to put, there's a couple of comments here. So okay. Commented, the intellect as a coping mechanism. I knew that beast well. Yeah, I think I still know him well sometimes. And then Karen replied, personal evolution rather than work for me. Yeah, and I think, work is one of those words that many people relate to something challenging, but having read the Prophet and the chapters about work is our opportunity to move at the pace of life. And so life is always working. And so, it's one of those things that it's kind of like, it's a blessing to have work. It's a blessing to find a work that you enjoy. And if that's self-discovery, it's just our modern interpretation of the word work or job that I find is maybe what holds us back there, because work can be really enjoyable. I really enjoy my work these days. So, any comments on raising vibration? Yeah.
I think, but it's from speaking from my own experiences that I gave you the example of the bird.
Mm-hmm.
And I have many more examples in which when I allow myself to be fully in my body,
Mm-hmm.
That raises my vibration. And also not to listen to the egoic talk or the critic in my head, then it's also nature or the world around me responds differently. So raising vibration is not that I do something, it's that I do less in my head, if that makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there's an interesting comment here from Karen. She's put, raising vibration is stepping into the true self.
Yeah, that's basically what I just explained.
Yeah, exactly that. Yeah, it is what you explained. And I agree as well. I see raising vibration is stepping into your true self, is allowing yourself to be you, having lifted, hope, got some clarity around some of the things that maybe weren't you, that you were representing, is the best way I can put it. So beliefs and values that maybe you inherited. And then it does actually improve your vibration. So everything in life vibrates at a frequency. And so like the planet's vibrating right down there, I think something like 10 hertz around that level. So it's not something we can hear or we can just about feel. And we all vibrate at a frequency. And as far as I can tell, the law of vibration says that when you're clear and in your true self, that you do vibrate at a different frequency, attracting other people. Whereas when you're blocking your true self because of whatever it is that's holding you, keeping you there, I wouldn't use holding you back, keeping you there, then you're not vibrating at the same frequency. Yeah. So that's my kind of thing. And David's put, rate of occurrence comes to mind when I think about frequency or vibration. Yeah, and that's kind of what I'm saying. Is this applicable in this context? Yeah, I believe so. I believe it's such a small change, but ultimately, when you allow your true self to vibrate at the radiant level you were designed to vibrate at, then you attract other souls who are vibrating at the same level, or at least aiming to vibrate at the same level. And that's how we all end up connecting and forming these communities where we do wonderful talks like this and have such amazing people to talk to every day and connect with and be inspired by. So Jen's put, it does to me. So I'm guessing that does mean rate of occurrence, frequency and vibration, replying to David. I love that. So, yeah, I mean, it's a really interesting thing. I actually found out about the law of vibration from Bob Proctor, weirdly. Just weird video came up saying, before you even think about the law of attraction, you need to know about the law of vibration. Yeah. So we talked a lot about self-exploration, and so why should situations be explored? Why should we explore ourselves? Let's start there.
Well, I think I already said it in the beginning, but it's like we were born here, and we were born in a body. You got this body, and your body is the interaction with the world around you. So learning more about yourself in who you are, learning more about your body, that will open the door for you to express more of yourself through your vehicle or your body in this world.
Yeah. And I think that actually, just as we were talking, just as I asked you that question, you started answering, a comment came up from Bina. Sorry if I get your name wrong. Hopefully that's right. And it says, for me, raising vibration means fully acknowledging all of our experiences, regardless of any positive or negative emotions, notions, and opening ourselves up to more. So I think that's where the self-exploration comes in, is that you have to be able to acknowledge, and be aware of the whatever of things have happened to you and accept them. I think this is the thing, is just accept and allow them.
When you encounter a situation that looks similar as a previous experience, see it as a new experience, because it's not the same as a similar experience. If you start relating to it as, oh, this same thing has happened to me 10 years ago, so it will go the same way, then it will go the same way. But if you look at it as a new situation, then you have a chance to change things or learn something from it by not projecting the past on that moment in time where you are at now.
Yeah, really beautiful. And so Karen's put, we need to understand ourselves first, so we can help every other aspect of our life. We need to understand ourselves first, will help every other aspect of your life. So understanding ourselves will help every other aspect of your life. David's asked us, so all members here, harmonics? Yeah, well, we like to try and raise each other's vibration and spread the ripple out throughout the rest of the world as much as possible. So hopefully you can feel that. And it's great to have you here joining in. Great to have everyone here. Hey, Gabrielle, great to see you from Ecuador. We've got a full room today. So we're really enjoying the conversation, actually. We've gone all over the place with this conversation. So what happens if you do not explore a situation or an experience that was painful or difficult, let's say?
Well, speaking from my own experience, or the things that I have encountered with clients, is if you do not address or look at something traumatic, it might, and that also is similar for myself as well, for me, is that what I see is that because of something traumatic happening in my own life or in clients' lives, is that if you do not address it and you take it with you, and your actions keep returning to that point in time, it becomes a hindrance, because you're hindering yourself, and you might even get sick from it, in the sense that you might get fascia, which is the stuff that connects all the muscles, the bones and stuff like that. It can really tighten up.
Right.
So now, so you might get physical ailments due to something from your past.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I can certainly relate to.
I hope I was clear.
Yeah. I think this is the ultimate thing, is that, you know, at the beginning, if you don't resolve issues, one, you struggle to find yourself, your true self, but two, you can often live recurring patterns of pain in the world that you're living in by repeating the same behavior that maybe isn't your ideal behavior. And then ultimately leaving that for a long time can definitely end up with us getting ill. I mean, this is something that's incredibly is finally being proven, is the mind-body connection, and how we cause quite severe sickness through not resolving issues in our minds, you know, experiences, unhelpful thought patterns, and all of these things. And like you say, I think it can show up in the fascia or the fascia, I'm not a body person, or in the organs as well, I believe. You know, even as far as cancer, as far as I'm concerned. There's a lot to do with worry and stress there.
There's a lot of proverbs in Dutch, you probably have it in English as well, where they talk about something going on with you. Like you have a chip on your shoulder, or my English proverbs aren't so good.
Perfect. No, you've got a chip on your shoulder. That's it.
Yeah. Where if you look at somebody where something is going on, you can see it in their body.
Yes, in their behavior as well. Yeah, see. So like, yeah, I mean, these things play out. So I think many of us are unaware of these things, from my opinion.
I had to learn to see that as well during my training as a body worker, where you start looking at a body, in this case, fellow students, and you learn to read like, oh, that shoulder is higher than that shoulder, or hey, their back is a little bit bent, like they're carrying a heavy load, or so there is,
Interesting, yeah. And so, so it actually starts to appear physically within the body. So people sort of don't carry themselves very well. Yeah, I mean, I can relate to that. My friend, I think I told you about, an acupuncture and acupressurist, and he found some issues that were showing up in around here, which, once unblocked, enabled me to actually see I wasn't carrying myself very well. And I definitely, for most of my life, was taking the weight of the world upon my shoulders. So Karen's commented, agreed, unresolved trauma will keep repeating itself until you sit with your feelings. And yes, also agree that pain sits in your body. Yeah, absolutely. And
also what I would like to add, because you ask like ailments, what can happen? What I experienced, for instance, when I was, how old was I? I think I was 20 or something. I had a company accident, and I had to stop heavy weights from smashing into my legs. So I used my lower back to catch that weight.
Right.
That hurt, but I didn't consciously go there and experience the experience for what has happened. So my back kept playing up for many, many years, until the point that I started looking at the situation from what happened then. It wasn't traumatic. Yeah, for my body it was traumatic, but I had to look at what happened in that situation. What did I do to create it? And until I started looking at that situation, my lower back from time to time kept bugging me. It's nothing dramatic in a sense like, oh, something scary happened to me, or somebody did something bad to me. It was something that I created myself. But it still wanted attention, because I didn't give it attention enough, or I didn't give it any attention at all while being so young and not understanding how it works. That until I allowed myself to look at that situation, I was able to resolve the stuff that was being held there.
Right. So it's like trapped energy in your body from not fully resolving the situation. And so basically, what you did saved your legs in a lot of respect. So.
But I did save my legs, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, wow. Yeah, quite an amazing story. And there's an interesting comment again here from Beamer. Yes, this is actually a really powerful example of the law of attraction. When we keep repeating the same perspective, same behavior, and same thoughts, they do manifest physically too. So I think getting quite deep into the law of vibration and attraction here. But yeah, I think this is where the importance of embodying your life, of observing and allowing what is, and then that enables you to be your truest self, highest self, future self, whatever. you want to call the version of that. I'm just going through the different names. I'm sort of like getting there. I think higher self and future self are the same thing, because the journey to higher self is continuous. There is no way to actually get there, because you're always reaching new levels of self, and it's more about showing up for yourself consistently, from my experience and understanding. So you were talking about quite painful experience there. So why can even painful experiences be the best thing that could happen to you, for example? Why are painful experiences beneficial for us?
Well, it depends on what do you mean by the question. Do you mean physically painful, or and mentally painful, or both?
Let's try to cover them one at a time, because I
think that for me, with my physical pain, what I learned there during when I started looking at it is that I didn't give my lower back the respect for catching that weight and making sure I didn't break my legs. So and by not and that accident also happened because I wasn't fully there present. So the lesson afterwards was, hey, you weren't present there, so this happened. And your body protected you, but you didn't look at your body to for what and didn't respect your body for what it did.
Right.
So what I learned from my experience is to respect my own body.
Yeah, and I think that's the crucial thing about experiences, whether we label them good or bad, is that there's something to learn from them. And as much as nobody wants to be in physical pain, sometimes we get there because, like you say, you weren't present at the time. And I mean, I've been close as well, working in industrial places where I've not been present and have just been lucky enough to duck or step out the way before I got squashed by something. It could have been easily avoided if I'd have been a bit more present at the time. And so I think a lot of people, even when they have physical experience, like incidents where they are hurt or something, end up with what could be classed as negative mental experiences, self-talk, inner critic, doubt and fear. But ultimately, these are positive experiences too. Yeah, these are things that help us in the long run, or would we be better off without them?
That depends totally on whose inner voice it is that's talking to you. Because you might have an inner critic that you created yourself to avoid certain things, but most of the times that inner critic is not your voice. And a good question to ask is, in whose voice is that critic talking? Because most of the time, especially when something happened when you were a kid, it's one of your parents or one of or a person that had status, like a teacher or something like that. And so that you created the pattern. Where was I going? You created a pattern around something that somebody else said that you took for real.
Right. Yes, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, I can relate to a lot of that. So,
and there is, I think everybody has examples about, oh, I have this voice and it's telling me that I'm not good at this or not good at that. But whose voice is it? Is it your voice? Is it true what the voice says? So,
yeah. Yeah. I mean, yeah, I can relate. I was
and the best things happened to me when I would go against that inner critic voice, like saying, "Oh, you shouldn't be doing that because la 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 la."
Mm.
And I went and did it anyway, and that made my own experience grow, and it also created more space for myself. So.
Yeah, absolutely. I can completely relate. So, I mean, I'm still identifying voices that are not mine, even after stripping back many of them. But as a child, I was what we could call insecure. And I never tried as hard as I could because I always defeated myself before I started with the inner critic. I'm not good at that. I'm not good at that. And all those things. So there's a lot of comments here about pain, actually. So Jen said painful experiences can either increase our awareness and or act as the stone to sharpen our skills. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So I think painful experiences are something that we want to escape from. We don't want to live with, and they can often be the trigger that causes us to look inwards and connect more with ourselves. Yeah, some people choose to live in pain. We've also got Karen said, any pain is there to get your attention. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, yes, pain is the body has a pain indication to tell you, like, hey, watch out, or look at this. There's also people with chronic pain who are always in pain, and some people, or at least my wife, for instance, she has constant pain, but most of the pain she doesn't feel. So and sometimes she does feel it, and she takes tranquilizers for it, or painkillers. But that's chronic pain, and chronic pain is different than a normal kind of pain. There's a difference between people who have chronic pain and people who stub their toe or twist their ankle, or because that can heal and the pain goes away.
Yeah, I think really good point there. I mean, we've got here, John put, pain is a short-term problem that often leads to long-term learning and benefits, unless of course it's chronic pain, because it's something that's a long-term problem that I think, there's not a lot of benefits apart from you do have to learn to cope. You do have to learn to be stronger and deal with it, I believe, and have coping mechanisms that maybe other people don't.
There are also possibilities to have a look at people with chronic pain to see if there is a way to alleviate that pain, or to create a new relationship to the pain, and integrating it as a part of who you are, and not being enemies with it.
Yeah. Okay. So
yeah.
So what kind of things do you find maybe can be the cause that you can treat to alleviate pain if it's chronic pain? What kind of things do people often overlook with chronic pain?
I think that also depends on the person themselves. So it's not like, okay, I have a complete workbook for someone like, oh, here you go, and go through it and it's done.
No.
That's really something personal on a personal level, and also how willing is a person to look at themselves, and what kind of what kind of shape someone is in.
Right, yeah.
Mentally.
Yes, that's kind of what I was wondering, whether it was to do with maybe a lack of other habits that support the body and self in other ways. So whether they're physical or mental, or
that could be.
Habits as in like bad eating habits, no exercise habits.
If I take my wife, for instance, she started doing workouts, and she's been doing that, and she notices a positive result, in the sense she has less pain. She still has pain, but it's less. So there is a positive result there. And so yeah,
because I think for myself personally, that is like not just for people with chronic pain, for all of us.
Yeah,
it's those little things we're not doing that are actually often making the things that challenge us seem harder. Exercise, diet, walking in nature, breathing deeply, drinking enough water. You know, all of these small, what seem like small things often get overlooked.
Go sit in the pool in the morning when you wake up. That's ice cold, for instance. That's what I do instead of coffee.
I know. I'm still like I'm still having the cold shower in the mornings, but I'm not doing 10 minutes. I can tell you that much.
No. Neither am I now. It's freezing. It's probably 5 minutes, 7 minutes, and that stops. But
right. But just
I started like doing that just before we met, I believe, like 2.5 years ago. And for me, I started doing it out of myself. It wasn't something that came up and said, oh, I have to do this. No, I just started doing it because it felt good. So I kept doing it.
Yeah, absolutely.
It was something that came to me, and it's like a habit that came to me without me choosing the habit. The habit chose me.
Right. Yeah. I mean, that's awesome. And they're the best kind of habits, I reckon. I chose to do a lot of habits. That wasn't one of them. I got the Wim Hof app actually just to do the breathing. Never thought about venturing into the cold showers, to be honest. I was like, no, that's just the crazy people. And but then actually they're really empowering, they're really energizing, I enjoy them so much. They actually, like, now the temperatures drop there. Before I dared not do them in the winter, but actually they're really good in the winter, because then your body adapts to lower temperatures. Just going to quickly catch up with the comments. So Bina said, for me, pain of any kind is a projection of focused tension. It's nature's way of telling us that instead of tension, we need to pay attention. So that's what you said. Yeah, I like the way you've put that. Really great comments there. And then Anna's here. So nice to see you, Anna. And thank you to everybody who's watching. It's a great show, and we've still got more questions to come. So, we talked a lot about people with challenges and facing things. So when you're in a difficult situation, what is the difference between reacting and being responsible? And that's response-able, everybody.
Response-able. Well, this is not my own thing. I also asked this question on my Facebook wall. It's like, are you reacting, or are you taking responsibility? So are you, and I mentioned this before, is as are you seeing a situation as a new situation, or are you referring to something in the past that looks similar? And if you are reacting, you are playing out something that happened in the past, and you learned to, oh, if I react this way, then this response will come, or at least that's how it works. But you're basically going back in time to the moment where it happened, and then start playing it out again in the situation. And with responsibility, you take the ability to respond to the situation as it is a new situation. So you are empowering yourself by looking at that situation as a new situation without the baggage from the past.
Yeah, interesting. I think
and I sometimes still fall into reaction mode.
Yeah, I think
everybody does that. So but I try to see when it happens, so I can see like, oh, I did it again.
Yeah, I think
and I'm not over analyzing it. I'm not judging it. It's just like, oh, it happened again. Maybe ask, why did it happen again? But yeah. I mean, it's a kind of a, I think we do react quite quickly. It's one of those skills that people learn, and the way I learned to do it is always to put a pause between the response. Yeah.
Rather than react, like instant answer, is to just take a couple of breaths to try and slow down. I'm definitely not the best at it sometimes.
In our modern day world, where we have social media with reaction icons and stuff like that,
they're forcing us to react.
Yeah.
You've got to react. Yeah, that's it. They're encouraging reactions. Yeah, that's very, very true, Sander. Now, actually, though, I've skipped a couple of questions and comments here. So Anna's asked, how do you deal with chronic pain? I have used chiropractor to help mine, and it reduced it considerably.
Yeah.
How would you deal with chronic pain? What's your suggestions there?
Like I said before, that totally depends on the person and what kind of chronic pain is it. Is it something you were born with, or is it something that was caused by an accident, or
it's a bit of a broad question, so there's lots of different ways.
Question, and it's also I know what chiropractors do, and I had my own experience with chiropractors, and it's amazing if they're good, but when you have misalignment in your bone structure or stuff like that, then go to a chiropractor and see if you can fix it.
Yeah. If it's specific and you know that that's what somebody can help you with, but then because each case is unique, there are many different ways that you can actually solve the problem. John.
Yeah, no, go ahead.
Yeah, so there's a few more. Catch up with them because we're nearly on the hour now, actually. So yes, pain can show up limitations that we can work on, like with muscle pain or old attitudes. And then Maida has put, I reduce my chronic back pain with food, fresh smoothies, banana, broccoli, carrot, yogurt, nuts, proteins every day, plus omega-3 pill 5 times a week, and MG, magnesium. It helped tremendously. So what's your thoughts on supplements and diet?
I use supplements and diets as well. So, sometimes when you have a lack of supplements, your body also starts playing up. So I've noticed it myself as well. When I took when I was working out like 7 days a week, and I got muscle spasms and stuff like that, it was because of lack of magnesium.
Right.
So, yeah.
Yeah, so easily done. So supplements, yeah, can they, just a lack of certain minerals can cause the pain itself. Yeah, so
I'm not a
definitely.
I'm not a dietitian or anybody who can tell you anything about that. I can only speak from my own experience. So yeah, but definitely looking at how you eat or those things also help to to create something healthy in your life, and also assist the body in resolving issues.
Yeah, we've got some more comments here. I'll try and catch up. So Venus said, for me, the reaction is following the cueing. This can be external or internal. It is actually giving up your power. The response is exercising my power. And so, as Sander said, to be empowered. Yeah, very nice. And then we got on to Maida's put, ups, react, respond, or UPS. I'm not sure if it's ups or UPS. So, but yeah, react, respond. Definitely, we want responses here. Responsibility is one of the books I read. But
responsive people, not reactive people.
Yeah, absolutely. So one of the books I read said that basically by accepting responsibility for yourself and all those things around you, you become less reactive.
Yeah.
So it's one of those things. So yeah, Anna said I used to always react. In the last 5 years, I've been training myself to use intentional breathing to create that space to allow for the response. Yeah, I think, yeah, for me, the space between response and stimulus is the learning curve. And also it's nice to sort of think first. I think we're
also with the whole reaction responsibility thing, most of the so-called negative thoughts that you have, or those critic thoughts or voices, we react to them. We do not take responsibility.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, yeah, sometimes it's because we judge our thoughts, or and I think there's a lot of things we have to be responsible for. So as we're on the topic of thoughts, how can you be sure that your decisions are based on your own thoughts and not the thoughts of others? Or how can you?
I already explained it a little bit about what is your decision based on what you feel and what you want to do, or is your decision based on that voice or those voices that tell you you can't do anything, or you can't do that, or you shouldn't be doing it, or so yeah.
So you got to look where the question's coming from, and what the question is really.
Or does it really does that question really matter? Oh, you shouldn't be doing this. What, take a walk in the forest? Why shouldn't I be walking in the forest right now?
Yeah, I mean, this kind of relates to something I've been doing a lot myself. Is recently I've been looking at following my soul or my spirit, or following my ego, and how to identify the difference between thoughts that are aligned with me and thoughts that are coming from the ego and maybe not as helpful. And so the main deciding factors is, does the thought come from fear or love?
Oh, yeah, you could also post it like, does the thought make, for instance, if you want to do something, does what you are going to do make you happy? Or does it feel like if you do it or don't do it, it feels like a failure?
Yeah.
Or
Yeah, absolutely. And that's my kind of thoughts, is when you're thinking about, obviously there's justified and unjustified fear, in my opinion, which is like, if I jump from this building to the next one,
yeah,
okay, then and there's a chance I'm going to fall. That's justified to be a little bit scared, right? But then there's like what you're talking about there is, am I worried about being judged or failing at this, rather than actually looking to learn from the experience, am I going to do it no matter what the outcome, because it's something I really want to do, that's going to make me happy, that's a decision from love that my soul is leading me to? Or is it something where I'm feeling that I'm doing it because I'm either doing it or not doing it because I feel like I'm going to be judged, or even doing it because I feel like I'm going to get judged, some kind of status from doing it? So these two things are coming from like the fear side of it.
But is being judged going to kill you? Is it life-threatening?
No, absolutely. No, that's what I mean. That's like question number one is, am I in immediate danger? Yeah, that's like it's definitely question number one when you get an uncomfortable feeling. If you've done things like I have, is, am I in immediate danger? No. Okay, then. So number one is make sure you're not in immediate danger. But yeah. So I've got a couple of questions here. So Anna said that she has a herniated disc in her neck, and she suffers from rheumatoid arthritis. Sorry, my speaking is my words are not working right now. But yes, that's terrible. I mean, really difficult to live with. I'm glad you're now back in a warm country with heating, because that can't be easy to live with here in Portugal, where it's freezing cold and there's lots of damp in the houses. I've known a few people with rheumatoid arthritis, and the cold seems to make it worse, as far as I understand. And Jen has put, I ask, is it comprehensive, unifying, reflective of my core values? If yes to almost all three, then it feels like real to me. So yeah, great. Yeah, very powerful questions there. I like that. Is it comprehensive, unifying, and reflecting of my core values? Now, assuming you know your core values, of course, which I know you do, Jen, and I do myself, and I'm pretty sure Sander does. So we're talking about thoughts, and so we're talking about how to identify our thoughts. And so one of the topics that's quite interesting to people is actually manifestation. So how do we manifest something into reality that originated from a thought?
I'm still trying to figure that one out.
Okay. So far,
because I'm going to be honest with you.
Good.
Because I've noticed that I set out things in the past, and I'm still experimenting with it. But the things that I set out in the past have come to fruition. The things that are positive for me and benefiting me in my in fulfilling my life's purpose. So some of those things I set out as a kid, like a little kid of 4 years old, and they're happening now.
Awesome. Yeah, I think
and that's, so I know it exists and I know it works, but what's the word? I'm still experimenting with it.
Yeah, but I think you can see that's, I think, so I'm learning about it and I'm still experimenting with it, and it's all in theory, so to speak, although I have manifested great things. Now, I think I watched a little meditation the other day, listened to a little meditation the other day. It was more of a talk, And this woman was explaining the law of attraction manifestation. And she said it's like this. It's like one of the things that's really important is patience. Yeah. And her example was when you're a little kid and you're really hungry, yeah, and you turn around to people and you say to your parents or whoever's house you're at, you're like, oh, I'm hungry, and they're like, okay, and they say, I'm going to make some food, and so they start making you this really delicious meal, but you can't wait, okay, and so you come in, you're like, I'm really hungry now, and they're like, okay, we'll have a banana, yeah. It takes patience to manifest things because otherwise you don't quite get what you wanted. So this was a very interesting example, which at first I was like, what are you talking about? But then it made a lot of sense, is that you have to have the patience to manifest. And so, as far as I understand it so far, really, you have to have the good intentions. You have to use your imagination. And you have to believe it's possible and be patient enough for it to come at the right time. But will only come when it's the right time. It won't come exactly when you want unless you're at the right time.
And it will only happen if you are aware enough to pick up on the thing that you set out to create, and opportunities arise to make that happen, that you are aware of the fact that those opportunities are there. Because if you don't see them and you don't act on those opportunities, then it won't happen.
Yeah, absolutely. I think acting as well actually is one of the crucial things I forgot there. You actually have to take action. You can't just sit back and go, right, bring it all to me now. You know, it's not like I have this magical wand of wishes and I wish this will happen. No, not working that way. No. So I think we've gone over the hour now, and so I think I'm gonna. Well, we had one more question, but I think we'll leave it on that. So thank you to everyone who came today. Thank you for getting involved and being in the comments. It's been a real pleasure to have you all here, and it's been a real pleasure to be talking with Sander. He is such a lovely guy, as I'm sure you've all seen, so wise and calm, and really amazing person who can heal in so many ways. It's quite astonishing is a good word. So I will be back on Thursday. I'm not sure if Sander's going to be with me, and because I'm a couple of days late today, and we're going to be talking with the Conscious Creators community about transformation. Assuming I don't get banned from Facebook again, I'm going to be very careful this week, and I'm not sharing any links to the outside. But if you'd like to join us all, so it'll be the same time, 6 p.m. GMT, so that's 1 p.m. EST, 10 a.m. PST, this Thursday. And it's the last show before Christmas, show number 11. And so thank you, Sander. Thank you, everybody, for coming. I hope you enjoyed. If you're watching the replay, ask any questions you like, and we will answer them at another time. Have a great rest of your day.